Welcome to Port City Uncensored. This week, brought to you by Donna Gaines, your local realtor with PMZ Real Estate. And after you buy that new house, you're going to need David's cleanup service because your yard deserves better. And now, let's kick this motherfucker into gear.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings from a Bat Cave in Midtown Stockton, broadcasting to you live tonight. It's Port City Uncensored. I'm J-Man Jack. I'm here in the studio with my man Scotty. And let me pull up our guest for tonight. There's one, there's two, and we got a few more people scheduled to come on. But first is Mr. David Cushman, and you are the chairman of the San Joaquin Republican Party organization, correct?
Yes. Thank you for having me.
I want to make sure we got your title correct there. And yeah, thanks for jumping on. And also joining us is Patricia Barrett, a longtime community activist in Stockton, and particularly South Stockton, joining us tonight. And okay, guys, so basically tonight's topics are a couple of pieces of, one is a piece of legislation, another one is a ballot proposition, and it is Senate Bill 771. A lot of it's called the censorship bill, and then we also have Prop 50. I wanted to touch on 771 first, since that's already kind of made its way through the legislature and is on the governor's desk right now awaiting a signature. And what this is it's a bill that's looking to hold large social media companies liable for civil penalties if their algorithms knowingly amplify content that violates the state's existing civil rights and anti-discrimination laws. And after passing both houses, this bill was presented to Governor Newsom on September 22nd and awaits his decision. And it looks to hold social media platforms accountable, and they're defining this as companies that have more than $100 million in annual gross revenues, which would pretty much be all your major platforms, like the ones we're streaming on tonight. We make them liable for their algorithms or AI if they conspire in civil rights violations. And they're basically saying that the social media companies are, they're allowing certain content to be broadcast and whatnot. And the problem with it, according to critics, is that it conflicts. Well, first of all, it conflicts with the current federal law that kind of addresses this already. There's also potentials for political abuse. Organizations like American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, for instance, have voiced concerns that the bill could be weaponized to silence dissent, particularly voices speaking out against issues like the Middle East conflict there. As constitutional issues, some argue that the bill raises First Amendment issues by infringing on platforms' editorial discretion and imposing penalties based on subjective judgments of user content. Okay, sure, let me pull you up here. All right. Mr. Shualo also joining us tonight. Oh,
he left.
You left. Okay.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. All right. Okay, David, why don't we start with you there on Bill 771. What's your thoughts on it, and whether you're speaking for yourself or your organization there, as far as your take on this?
Yeah, definitely speaking for myself. I would say, I'm not 100% familiar with every detail, but I would be careful, anytime we're talking about censorship, any part of the media, we're going down a rabbit hole, I think, and it really depends on, just like any interpretation of how it relates to the First Amendment, any conflicts it might have, it's up to the interpretation of, obviously, a judge, if there's a suit brought according to the provisions of this bill. And it's up to whatever administration is in charge whenever it's being enforced. So I tend to err personally on the side of not restricting rights as much as possible. So that's my own personal feeling in general about these things.
Okay, and that would include, rights of companies as well as individuals, because the bill is actually targeting the social media companies,
Hmm.
themselves. Any company that's got over 100 million in revenues, and like I said, that would be all your major platforms, like the
Right.
ones that we're streaming on tonight,
Hmm.
YouTube, X, and Facebook, for instance. So, okay, Patricia, we
Yes.
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, there you go.
You want my personal opinion on it? My
That's all.
personal opinion is, you know what? There is a First Amendment, and there's a reason why there's a First Amendment, and that's to be fair to everybody else. When it comes to social media, I don't think everything is fair in love and war when it comes to social media. It's got too broad of an audience, and me, myself, and I, if I don't like something, I'm just not going to look at it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to
Yeah.
listen to it. I'm not going to. But some people might be, trolling through it and then end up on something and it's not appropriate for them. I just think First Amendments. I just think that when there are some laws, it's appropriate to go ahead and obey them because sometimes when you open up a door, it opens up that whole can of worms. So it's easier to keep it contained. And I'll tell you the story. So I'm old, right? And well, which one was it? Was it Stars or HBO or one of them? And decades ago, I'm watching a movie and they say the F word. I mean, I perked up. I perked up. I went, "What the heck? Hey, Shua, how you doing, dude? I miss
Good,
you.
good. How are you?
Forever." I perked up and I just said, "When did that happen?" Right? So it's a matter of, I know it might violate one person's rights where they don't have to listen to it. You don't like it, you don't watch it. It says, language or whatever. But I still believe that when it comes to a First Amendment, things should be kept in order just because that is those constitutional rights. You want to
Okay.
cuss on TV or social media, that's on you. But when it comes to our rights, I think that's another story.
Yeah. I think simple cussing is one thing. I think the thing that's more concerning with this is hate speech or politically motivated hate speech, and I think this is what this bill is mostly about. And okay, the concern is that if they rework these algorithms and AI and whatever they're using to start blocking certain stuff, well, uh, it could intentionally block stuff that actually is not hate speech, that is actually legit content, but because of what's being said or subject matter, I don't know, for instance, like, a podcast like this could get knocked off the air, simply because the algorithm thinks, something fishy is going to be going on. I know for a fact. Okay, YouTube, for instance, right now, if you're on a live stream, you cannot show a firearm or a gun while you're live streaming. If it's something that's pre-recorded or whatever, it doesn't seem to be a problem. But if you're on a live stream, no guns allowed. I know someone that did that, and guess what? They were off like, the algorithm picked it up like within seconds, and so that's just something that's in place now on YouTube. So and what this bill is, this bill is actually leaning on the companies themselves to, y- you know,
But you know what, Jack? Because it reminds me of, so I had family in Hawaii, and one of the family members, one of their jobs was they literally sat in a room with a bunch of other people, and they went through all this Facebook stuff. They went through all the Facebook, all the social media, all. They were literally physical people, proofreading it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand if it's doing something like that, yeah, where you're talking about, the AIs and everybody. It's like our code enforcement here in the city of Stockton. They put a camera on code enforcement, and they're going through all the neighborhoods, and they're saying, I had weeds. I'm like, how do I have weeds? I have indoor outdoor carpeting and fake grass because my dog is allergic to weeds, you know? So, and they're being analyzed by an AI,
Mm-hmm.
So I get what you're saying about that mistake. Um, I just think when it comes to it, well, they're going to have a better system. But when it comes to the First Amendment, I'm just really strong on that.
I will say too, you kind of look at going back, with Twitter specifically, pre Elon and post Elon, and how the algorithm there changed to, you know, to have less censorship once he took it over. I mean, going back to your point, I mean, it really just depends on who is who is monitoring that, who is creating the algorithm, who's feeding into it. Um, I mean, there's just so many factors that come into play that, I that's why I said I tend to lean towards less regulation as opposed to more, personally.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Your thoughts on SB-771?
My thought is, this whole thing, right? It's all smoke and mirrors, right? So we have to look at it this way. 9/11, right? Post 9/11. So this is exactly what they're doing. So it's a whole smoke screen, and my honesty is that, they're really what they're doing is so you had the COVID, the pre-COVID, and this is the after COVID, right? So pre-COVID, whatever was on Facebook, whatever was on YouTube, whatever was on, Google, nobody was fact checking nobody, right? As soon as COVID hit, you have all these fact checkers now. They're checking facts, right? So what happens is you open up this door, the Pandora box is open now. So it's like, oh, you got all these fact checkers, people are saying something that's against somebody. So that, that's against our policy. Facebook, we can't have this on Facebook, right? So they start censoring, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Facebook implemented censoring. Same thing with Twitter. Same thing with oh, forgot whatever, right? So all this censorship, and what's it doing now is so now Trump gets in. Trump is like, hey, you know what? We need to put these bills in place so that way we can actually start having eliminate these anti whatever it is, right? Anti this, anti that, right? So really, all these bills are same thing. Post 9/11 happened, you had this Patriot Act. So what they're doing now is this. So it's another way to censor everybody. It's all censorship. So we may think, hey, you know what? It's really doing a good thing. We're putting more restrictions on, for example, like Facebook to make sure that they're doing the right thing, right? They don't put out, a video or a comment that may have some kind of hate or target some kind of individual or group, right? So they're going to do that. So, I mean, in a way, it's good, but in you look at the bad side, you start to have censorship. And once you allow that censorship, you're now eliminating, you're giving the government the ability to really control you. So it's more control where we allow them to do it because why? Pre-COVID, we had no censorship. Post COVID, it's all about censorship now. Because why? We had the BLM movement, the anti movement. We had the whatever, the J6 movement, right? You could call it whatever you want to call it. It's just a way to really, I think the people that it doesn't really affect are actually those 1% people, right? The 1%ers, the people that actually write the laws, they're not affected by it because why? They're the one that sets the rules. And we're the one that actually have to oblige by those rules. We have to follow those rules now, right? If I'm going to put something on Facebook, I need to make sure I don't write something that would actually offend somebody now. So in reality, we're just allowing the door. We're allowing people. We're allowing the government to really control us. You know, we look at it both ways. It's good and bad, right? It's good in a way where it makes Facebook more responsible, but it's bad in a way where we allow ourselves to be censored now. So I mean, you can look at it either way.
Okay, I want to welcome Alex to the discussion here. How you doing, Alex?
How's it going, guys? How's it going,
All
Cal?
right.
Scotty, how you doing?
Yeah, we're discussing our California Senate Bill 771 here, looking for control on social media companies. And my thought is, are we in an evolutionary stage, possibly, to where this is kind of a new thing, and it's an evolving thing. And of course, this bill here, this was something that was particular to California. I don't know what's going on in other states, um, but there are some federal laws already in place that that kind of cover this stuff. And I don't know, Scotty, your thoughts on the whole algorithm thing and what these social media companies can or cannot do?
I'm glad you asked. So speaking as someone who actually grew up quite literally with this shit, I can tell you it sucks ass. So how I know this is because I played Call of Duty back in the day, and there's this thing called voice over internet. So if you had a microphone, well, I'll just put it like this: when you get a bunch of guys in high school playing Call of Duty, they're gonna say the wildest shit. And the reason I bring this up is that they say some of the foulest shit, but the point is it's all for sports, just the game. However, the stuff they're saying would be deemed offensive by many others. So the point being, though, is that you're pretty much silencing people. Put it like this: if I'm in the UK, right, and I see something that's I don't know, say someone kicks a dog and I fucking record it and I post it on Twitter and say, hey, I don't like this guy. This dude's an asshole. Guess who? I'm being arrested because I hurt somebody's feelings and I made a post on social media and someone was like, oh, that person called me something foul or I feel like my life's threatened. You see how stupid it sounds, yet people do get arrested for posting their mind on social media in the UK. This doesn't happen in America. We have guns. In the UK, they don't have guns. The cops
True.
don't even have fucking guns. But still, that doesn't stop them from arresting the average citizen for speaking about daily occurrences. So how would you guys feel if, let's say in Stockton, right? Say, I don't know, you guys couldn't do a podcast. You couldn't post about how you're feeling on Facebook. You couldn't complain about the state of the city. You're pretty much forced to do your little 9 to 5 and shut the fuck up and never talk about it. You don't get to speak your mind. That would piss you off, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and if you did say anything, sorry, you're arrested. Yeah, how fucking stupid would that be in Stockton? That shit wouldn't fly. So why is it fly in the UK? Because the government allowed it. So maybe we should think about how we should reevaluate how grateful we are that we have the First and Second Amendment. So
Yeah.
the reason we have the First Amendment is because we have the Second Amendment to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Case in point, no one's gonna tell you how to live your life if they come from a crazy ass religion like Sharia fucking law, where if a woman speaks her mind, she gets acid thrown in her face. She has to wear a fucking burqa. I wouldn't want that for my daughter. So me saying that would get me killed because infidel. Sorry, you're threatening our culture or some shit. So I'll just point out that I'm anti fucking Sharia law or anti whatever you want to call that shit. The reason is because it's anti-American. It's not compatible with their way of life. So my point being is that your right to life, your freedom of speech, to happiness, which is written in the fucking Constitution, the right to happiness, to own a gun, to land, all that shit. All of that was paid for in blood by many men and women who've come before us. So why the fuck would I jeopardize or sacrifice that because someone's feelings got hurt? So people have the right to talk shit. They don't have a right to say a death threat. So there's a difference. You can criticize. You cannot say a death threat. Case in
Right.
point.
Right. There are laws in place as far as death threats and things like that. Of course, but yeah, you can take a look at what's going on in the UK right now, and it is scary.
Oh, you know why it's scary? Because the citizens who talk about it get arrested. So if the police force is deemed as corrupt and unreliable by the general population, they're going to riot, which they are. So if I had to say something, I'd say the world ended in 2012. It ended in a day. It's ending in years going by due to societal decay because we don't trust our fucking government. We don't trust our police force. If there is no trust, which is the most valuable currency, then everything goes to hell, right? It's like if I can't trust my neighbor not to jack my shit when I go to the fucking beach for a vacation, but then we don't really have a neighbor. We just have people who live next to us. See, that's not a good mentality to live in.
Mm.
And that's pretty much the mentality that's fucked the UK because everybody hates everybody because it's destabilized. You want it destabilized when you import people from a place that is incompatible with yours. Just think about that.
Hmm.
Just think about it. Think of your kids. If not for yourself, think of the future you want for your kids. Do you want your kids to be speaking English or fucking Arabic? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want all your guys' opinions on that because everyone on this podcast comes from different ethnic backgrounds, even I do. So my case in point being is that would you not want to protect the life as you know it, everything you've been raised up until this point? Speaking from Pat's experience, like as an elder woman, she's seen a lot of shit, right? So everything she's seen, she would see obviously how the government would manipulate the youth, right? Because like I've seen this shit before. I'm lucky I see it now as a younger guy because well, COVID opened my eyes, but someone else my age and younger would not see this because they're like sheep led to the fucking slaughter, right? So if your youth is promoting a censorship and yada yada, just think of how the fucking communists did it in like the 40s, what Stalin did. So the kids were pretty much reporting their parents who were criticizing Stalin, and their parents got shot because the kids were brainwashed into like, oh, the state comes before family. In what fucking sane world does the government matter more than your own flesh and blood, or the one in which you're brainwashed? Think about that. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm just a young guy that was open to the system. Now I see how fucked it is.
I
So
think we lost the focus.
yeah, we have.
Okay. Because, everything that you're saying is one thing, that's censorship and everything, but we're talking about the First Amendment and treating people like they're dirt. Like if I were to attack Shua because he's Southern Korean,
Hmm.
you know, that's not cool because people from Korea bring a lot of culture to us.
Wait, do you mean like
But
on social
because,
media?
huh?
Do you mean like verbally assaulting? What do you mean like on
Well, that's
social
the
media?
thing.
Oh,
Social media is
cyberbullying?
talking. This SB-771 is talking about violations to our First Amendment. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's not talking about freedom of speech. It's talking about violations of our First Amendment. That's two different things. All
Mm.
right. I got up in front of the mayor, said what I wanted to say at the podium, and she denies it, but she retaliated and she took me off of a committee. That was because I voiced my opinion,
Isn't that a
and that's
violation of
all
freedom
it
of speech?
was. She did not come at me and say, "Oh, because you're white and you're a woman, and you're LGBTQ." She didn't. She didn't violate my First Amendment. I didn't violate her First Amendment, but I got to say my opinion. So that censorship of people's opinions and violating the First Amendment, two different issues.
Right, and depending on the situation, people's opinions, will oftentimes have consequences.
Yeah, case in point about that. We use social media to exercise our First Amendment, though. So it's kind of connect, right? So freedom of speech is me right now saying I like donuts. That's just me expressing that. I use social media though. That's me also expressing freedom of speech. But if it's not like say it's talking about politics or like media or anything like that, now it's kind of shifting. But if I'm to use that to voice it to other people, like how to put it, like when do you draw the line between criticism and radicalism? I guess that's my question when it comes to freedom of speech online, right?
Hmm.
Because I can criticize the government, but if I'm saying like trying to radicalize people, it's like, hey, let's overthrow the government. See, there's a difference to that. See, me saying the government sucks is different versus saying let's take it over. So
I
where's the line
think
drawn?
it's like it's probably
You're
just like
drawing like it's okay. You've been doing a lot of cussing. I just asked your mother, what the hell? Why is he kissing all this much, right?
Have a bad habit.
And to me, that's offensive,
Freedom of speech.
right? Freedom of speech. So what am I supposed to do, right? How am I supposed to? That's on me. That's not on you. But when you start targeting and throwing darts at people because of their sex, their religion, uh, their ethnic group, or whatever, now you're not allowing me to the pursuit of happiness, and that's my constitutional right.
Okay, Alex, you at a point there?
yeah. I mean, I think it's just intense, really, how you speak and who you speak to, what you say and how you say it. And to what Scotty was saying, criticizing versus like radicalism, and how people morph their words into either or can. It's just intent, really. And so what that bill is trying to prevent is mainly violent threats on social media, which do happen, right? You can talk. I think they even mentioned it too. They interviewed a few people within the California government, in whatever department. At least from this article I found on, what was it? It was KCRA. It's one news outlet in Sacramento.
Oh yeah, our
Yeah,
station out here. Yeah.
and yeah, so I read it just real quick, and I pretty much just skimmed through. However, they did say that a lot of the people behind the bill really do care about the First Amendment. It's just about perception, right? They mentioned a question asked, I think it was to Newsom, where they said that, oh, for example, let's make fun of you know John Smith, saying that he's comically bald, right? Oh, you're so bald. But now with this law implemented, he can say, "Oh, this is a violent threat. I'm going to sue you for violently threatening me online." So where is that like gray area of violent, of verbal threats, threatening Mr. John Smith and his lack of hair, right? But
Yeah.
it's all about intent, and it's all about what the situation calls for, and that's what they're trying to make these social media platforms and the companies more aware and more liable for these verbal threats that people are getting on social media. And you can say whatever I mean, to me, you can say whatever you want. However, once you cross that, like, oh, I will do this to you, this and that, the algorithm needs to recognize, hey, are they looking them up? Are they stalking them? Do they live nearby? Are they, liking certain things that can, coincide with this type of behavior? And it's a lot of stuff. And then the company should then reach out and be like, hey, what's going on? This and that, and I think that's what they're trying to make more companies liable to. I'm pretty sure that's what you guys discussed earlier. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to me, like, yeah, words are words, and it's just how you choose to hear them and how you understand them. But they are powerful, so it can affect a lot of people. But when it comes to threats and the intent behind it, that's where it can be a little iffy.
Oh man, if I got a massive plot twist for you, speaking of death threats, what if I told you? Okay, so you guys talked about AI, right? There's this thing called a bot farm. China loves doing it. So what they do is get a bunch of computers, run a script that pretty much automates a bunch of social media accounts. And guess what they do, Alex? Wait for it.
No, I've
They
seen.
do
I know
hate
about.
speech.
I
They
know.
do hate speech, whatever variety, whatever is going to rile people up. They're going to spam that, and then the line is kind of, well. See, that's where the line's pretty. It's in the sand right there, right? Because you're making death threats towards someone's life. For me,
But
it's
it's
like
the algorithm, though. It's like
the
it's
algorithm.
that's
Yeah,
what they're trying to push with this bill, is pretty much saying those companies, hey, your algorithm is allowing this type of.
that makes the money though. That's my issue though. Is that why
It
would
doesn't matter. It's affecting people physically, mentally, and that's what California is trying to prevent. All these issues is through the algorithm. I mean, you mentioned it before. During communism, they didn't have these. They didn't, computerized algorithms like this and in this effect. But what they had was
newspapers?
they had newspapers, right? So they had localized newspapers that created this sense of hate towards Americans, capitalism. Oh, communism is great, but that instilled some sort of way of thinking, and then it transferred into, oh, I'm gonna, we're gonna threaten the U.S. Right? It was a longer process, word of mouth, newspapers, the whole, who can read, all a lot of issues there. But because of how quick it is with algorithms on social media, you guys probably have a different algorithm than I have. I try to diversify it. Sometimes I type in, oh, what did Charlie Kirk think, or how do bananas taste? Just to try to trick it. But it's all about what you're shown and like how much of it you're shown. And so there are these bot farms. Actually, I know of them. There's a bunch of those in China and other countries as well. I'm sure that there's like other places that do this for the money and for the views. But yeah, they do these things where they have a bunch of phones. Imagine a wall of phones, and they're just playing these, targeting people, They have bots for comments where it's just a fake account with like one or 50 followers or whatever, maybe a random post, and they just comment hate speeches or like triggering words, that can, if you like Toyota, you can be like, oh, the Japanese never made anything reliable. And it's like, actually, not really. They're like the leading, most reliable car company on the planet. And it just causes like this like tension, And that's a bad example, but it's what they have to go with Scotty's point.
No, it's a great example. My point being is that how is this bill going to stop that? Because there's so many big fish in this little pond, and it's like, why would China give a here, another point being is that I'm glad Pat mentioned it. I do swear a lot, but so if someone mentioned that I do, I'll tone it down. So freedom of speech also is acknowledging how it makes other people feel and changing, adapting to it. So I'll swear less from it. But my point being is that China, Russia, other places will not really they don't really obey the local laws. Like for America, for example. So how do you effectively combat a bot farm? Because it's been happening since, like, for example, Trump 10 years ago, 2016. It was a way major thing. People were saying, oh, the Russians hacked the election. And I'm not sure if they did, but I'm willing to wager they definitely did some cyber espionage, and that's what they're doing today. The thing I'm studying in school, cybersecurity, that's what they're talking about. If they can't blow you with a drone up, if they can't send in a hit squad, they're just gonna send it. They'll hack you. If they can't do that, guess what? They'll just use AI to make a bunch of bots that'll corrupt your youth by saying, you see, it's a fucking excuse me. It is a very deep rabbit hole, and that's why I wonder is that you need to have do a lot more than a bill in order to effectively combat something like a technological enemy like this, which is misinformation on a mass-produced scale that is only ever expanding due to like technology. Like AI has only gotten good in the recent couple years. 20, 30, 5 years from now, within these 5 years, I'm willing to bet that when the next election comes around, we can all agree that AI will definitely have a part to play. Like, for example, how do you know the person you're talking to on Twitter is a real person, not a bot? Say someone's calling you to, hey, I need you to come down to your local polling office. Could be a bot or even a Zoom call, right? Because believe it or not, you can take someone's face and put on yours Mission Impossible style during a Zoom call and have them think it's you. And that's the use of artificial intelligence. So it's only going to get worse from here. So how do you combat that?
Well, that's a good question. And on the technological side, yeah, we can pass whatever bills we want here, but you got people in China, Iran, wherever that are like you said, running the bot farms, these phone banks. That's actually been going on for a while. If you've ever gotten an email from a Nigerian prince, telling you that there's some money waiting for you, again, it's just that scam methodology is just now increased.
That's not a scam. That's my favorite cousin.
Oh,
he just gave me $50,000 last week.
All right, my bad. Then you can pay for lunch next time. Okay,
I got you. I'll Venmo you.
All right, cool. But yeah, I mean that's what we're facing, and that's why I said, are we in an evolutionary stage with all of this? And I don't know. I don't know. To me,
to me, like I said, I think we don't need a bill to actually tell people how to act, right? How business should be acting. I think it should be just ultimately, from the top down, like, the Congress, the Senates, right? They should just say, hey, you know what? You guys need to really clean up your act, right? Why do we need to pass a bill to censor something when business should really be operating within their own, like, they should have a moral kind of judgment, say, hey, you know what? We're going to do good for the community, right? I mean, we're going to have, online thing, and we're going to do the right thing instead of having, somebody passing a bill and say, hey, you can't do this anymore, right? I mean, because once again, If you ask for it, you will get it. And once you get it, you can't take it back. So once you get censored, you can't take that back anymore. Once you ask for that bill, you can't take that bill away. It will be there forever. And then what happens is now it opens up the door for, you know, for them to really say, hey, you know what? We need to improve on this censorship because we got people that are just gonna even point the finger at somebody, right? That's probably telling me that, hey, he doesn't like me and he's gonna do something to me, right? Now we're open the door. And honestly, that's how communism works. And you guys don't seem to understand it, but like I keep telling everybody, once you allow them to come in, you're done. Once you allow them to get that restriction, now they just say, hey, you know what? We're going to take this away from you. We're going to censor you now. You can't go online and you can't say things that'll actually offend somebody, right? We're giving them that opportunity to censor us. Once you give them that opportunity, now it's like, oh, because you wore the wrong color and we don't like it because our bill we just passed, SB, whatever it is, right? Passed. We need to change that bill because instead of you saying something, we don't like the fact that you're wearing red. And red, it's offensive. Red is communist. So now anything that's red, you can go to prison for that, right?
So let me counteract you right there, Shua. You know me, I love you. Common sense. We don't have common sense anymore. That has dropped out off of the face of the earth. Okay, so we can't even say people will use common sense. People will use moral standards. What are moral standards? What is moral to me definitely isn't moral to Scotty. Okay, so where do we draw that line? So when you're talking about, and here's California, we got Nevada's the silver state, Utah's the copper state, Florida is the sunshine, Georgia is the peach, Missouri is the show me, and we are the sue me. Okay, California is the sue me state. Bottom line is, if you don't give people in California these limits and boundaries, they will run with it, and you give them an inch and they will take a mile. And then somebody will say, oh, but there is no law that says that. How are you going to tell me I can't do that? So what do? We just implement stuff as just as much as people be suing people in the state. We have to implement it because we are such a liberal state that if we don't put a rein around it, it's not communism. It's just sitting up there saying, look, social media should not violate another person's First Amendment. That's all we're saying. That's bullying. That is bullying.
That
It's not telling Shua you can't say that. That's communism.
I know,
You know?
but
I mean, Trump went around changing everything once he
but
got
but you,
in.
that's what you're asking for. You're asking for that bill. By asking for the bill to say sure can't go online and say these words. That's what you're asking for. You're asking for control. You're asking for the government to control you. So
So what's the
I'm
that
just
is
saying
solution?
the First
communism.
Amendment. I don't care what you say after the First Amendment. I don't care if it's the 20th Amendment. Bottom
So
line is
so
the
by
First
doing
Amendment.
censorship, that's what you're doing. You're taking away my First Amendment.
It's bullying. It's bullying.
But bullying, I mean, nobody says that you had to go on my page. You don't have to go on my Facebook page, right?
That's true. That's what I said before you got
So
on.
so so that's the problem. The problem is we have people doing things that they put online because what they're doing is they're looking for views. They're looking for a way to generate money because once again, blame it on Facebook because this is Facebook's what they're doing is by having 10,000 people go on your page and hit the like button, right? Now I get views. So that means, hey, Facebook could put an ad on there. They could make some money off of you, right? So that is Facebook's responsibility. It is not my responsibility. It's not your responsibility. It's not Jack's responsibility to say Shua should not be able to do that, right? That is your responsibility. You shouldn't be on my page to begin with. So
And look, trust me, I met a person at a forum one day, and what's that guy? Motek walked in, and this lady says, oh, I don't like him. And I said, why? She said, oh, he blocked me. And I said, well, count it as a blessing. You don't ever have to go back and read anything he says, right?
that's
And trust me, I feel the same way. If you don't like
exactly.
what they've got on their Facebook page, why visit it?
Yeah.
Why give them a like? Why give them a view? Why give them that point?
So then
Don't look at it.
so that's why I said, why do you need a bill to censor you from your freedom of speech. We don't need
because
that.
be,
If you don't
because
like it, just don't go
people,
on my page. Just don't go
I
on their
get it.
page.
I get it. You know who I used to, you know who I can't stand, but I used to listen to every time when I was a truck driver coming up the I-5 late at night. What was his name? Rush Lombard.
Rush.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
That man would say the most stupidest things, but have me laughing and keeping me awake. Okay? I loved him because he was just stupid. He would just say the most bizarre, craziest things. And you're just going, are people really listening to it? Or are they listening to it because it's keeping them awake from wondering? You know, like I did. But, and I understand that, but I'm just saying, when it comes to the words of the First Amendment, that's the catcher. That's the one that says, do we let the First Amendment get violated or not? And that's what I think we need to look at.
Well, I
Right.
mean, we've seen that in the past, right? Where you go into a building, right, and you yell fire, and everybody runs out and and then they end up doing something else when there's no real fire. So that means that person should be held liable. We don't need a bill to tell us you shouldn't go into a building to scream fire, right? We don't need
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay. On a personal level, with me, okay. At the end of the day, we're talking about words, all right, and how they affect people. To me, I would use this in reference to, like, to say, so-called hate speech. Okay, um, if I direct some nasty words at someone, it's like a knife. Okay, this knife here by itself is not going to hurt anything. I could lay it right down in front of you. Okay, it's not hurting you. But if you make a conscious decision to pick that up and slice your wrists, guess what? You're going to get hurt. So words are like that knife. All right. I can direct them at you. And, if you're the type of human being that's going to completely fall apart emotionally because somebody,
Echo.
uh,
Echo,
yeah,
echo.
Nelson, I think,
Brother
I got
Nelson.
it.
come in here.
What's up, my friends?
Okay. Well, welcome to the show. Yes.
Jackson, finish your point. It was a pretty good point.
Yeah, so it kind of falls on us all individually, like, how are we going to handle it? Now, I'll give you a real life example. For me, okay, I have people actively, and like Pat said, you don't have to give oxygen things. And there's one guy I don't give oxygen to, and Pat just mentioned his name. So I will not mention it again. However, I have people actively working behind my back,
You talking
talking
about
shit
Trailer
about
Park
me,
Chat?
trying to silence me. Okay, basically saying, I shouldn't be allowed a place at the table, as far as
Oh, I know
political
who you
stuff.
talking about.
Right, right. So, okay, now,
Man, don't
okay,
even get me started on that piece of shit. Sorry.
I could take this a number of different ways. All right, I can hear about that, and oh my god, and fall apart. However, when people come at me like that, I have a tendency to double down. In other words, if you're going to tell me I can't do something, guess what? I'm going to try twice as hard to do it. All right, and so, to make a long story short, the reason why this podcast is on the air right now is because, well, I had enough of somebody's shit, and this is how I respond. Okay, this is how I respond to a kick in the groin. Okay, other people may choose to fall apart. Again, I'm the kind of guy that I'll double down. I'll take up that challenge. Okay, and so, here I am. That's how I handle it. So, again, it's on all of us individually how we react to what people throw in front of us. You know, words, can be weaponized, but how do you respond to that? So that's my take on it, and also my take on this bill. I like to take a few steps back and look at the bigger picture, and when you put it in place with other things, I consider it a component part of Newsom's plan to consolidate as much power as he can to further direct California down the road of a Soviet-style
Yep.
one-party system. You
Can
know,
I mention something? I want to point something.
Go ahead, Scotty.
I have a dying hatred for communism. I know you guys ever played Wolfenstein, the game, but like I'm like that guy. I don't like communism for the simple fact that okay, put it like this, guys. You guys like the ability to be able to go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger whenever you want. I don't know, pretty much Amazon, whatever you want. Pretty much your life as it is right now. That's great that we can do all that we're allowed to do. However, when I think communism, I can't help but get of Stalin's like Soviet Russia Soviet Russia era out of my head, because it's like, if I'm to say something like, I don't like what Stalin did with this, I get sent to the gulag, or worse, maybe your family does, and now you just you can't do anything. So, not that we're at that point yet, but it's more like, what if we did get to that point? Because I'm not saying this bill is going to allow that. I'll put it like this. I think we can all agree we need an internet bill. Now, I'm not thinking of free speech. I'm thinking an internet bill that actively shuts down false misinformation or stuff that like that's not true, like the bot farm stuff. Stuff like that does not need to exist. So if there's a bill that say like, hey, if you're running a bot farm in America and you're actively spreading misinformation about your own country and you're profiting on it, don't you think that that's good enough cause to go to a crime like that, go to prison, right? Because is that not treason? Is that you're spreading misinformation, causing people to get politically violent due to stuff that's not true, right? So that's kind of what I want to leave it at. Is that I think we all need a bill that actively shuts down misinformation, but does not limit freedom of speech. Because to me, it's like, just because a baby can't eat a steak doesn't mean I'm going to ban steaks for the grown-ups. I'll give the baby a little chewy steak, not the adult steak. So I'm trying to draw the analogy here is that there is a solution that may have both like a mixture of ideas from both sides, right? Because it's like, well, we can't do it one way because there's going to be negatives this side. We can't do it the other way. So how can we come to a compromise? So, for example, if I politically disagree with someone, that's okay. We agree to disagree. That's fine. You're an American. It's just a different point of view. That's all there is to it. It doesn't mean that someone can't be allowed to express their point of view. I like when people have a different viewpoint than me. Otherwise, it's an echo chamber, and I'm not learning anything, and I could be wrong. My worst fear is that, what if I'm wrong about a topic that I claim to know so much about, only to meet someone who knows a lot more, and due to my ignorance, I'm like, yeah, America definitely had every reason to be in Iraq, like totally justified war, like definitely was because of oil or any other reason. See my point here? Is that misinformation can kill, so I think we need a bill that kills misinformation. Ooh, how about that? That was bars.
Well, it sounds like a perfect world. It's, the way it should be. So, all right. Any closing thoughts on SB-771?
My closing thought is, I love you, Scotty. I've known you for a few years, but boy, you just love to hear your voice talk.
I do.
He says, I do.
All right.
Honest about it.
So I can't be a politician because I'm too honest.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that being said, SB-771, as I said, it passed through the legislature. It's on the governor's desk. Whether he's going to sign it or not, I guess we will find out here in the coming days. So on that note, we need to take care of an obligation here for a quick minute. Everybody hang on, and we will be back and get to Proposition 50. So right now, let's pick the bill.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Hey guys, Smacks here. If you guys like gaming, swing over to Twitch, Smacks_TTV, live most nights. Stop by, say hi, drop a follow.
In a world drowning in debris, where old mattresses lie like forgotten secrets and tree branches whisper of chaos, there's a hero waiting to spring into action. David's Cleanup Service, the name that echoes through Stockton's cluttered streets. Specializing in fall and winter cleanups, David's ready to tackle junk, yard waste, appliances, hot tubs, you name it. Your yard deserves better. Whether it's mowing, trimming, or weeding, we've got your back. And listen up, free estimates and discounts for seniors and veterans, because everyone deserves a clean slate. So if you're in Stockton, Lodi, or Manteca, don't let the mess linger. Call or text David now at 209-546-2746. That's 209-546-2746. 209-546-2746. And clean up your life today.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspin's Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Hey guys, I'm here in Stockton today, and I'm with Donna. We're at this beautiful house in North Stockton, and some lucky buyer is going to be walking away with it. Imagine having a brand new place to live. Donna, somebody's looking for a house. What do they got to do?
Give me a call, and we will get you pre-qualified, look for you a home, and then do the process of closing.
All right, and to get this ball rolling, I know they got to talk to you. How do we get a hold of you?
At 209-301-5193 or at dgaines@pmc.com.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
In 2025, California is taking a stand against partisan redistricting with Proposition 50, the Election Rigging Response Act. This critical measure, appearing on the November 4th ballot, seeks to combat efforts seen in other states, like Texas, that aim to redefine congressional districts for political gain. If approved, voters will see a temporary new map drawn by the state legislature for congressional elections through 2030. But opponents warn it risks undermining the very independence voters endorsed in 2010. More than 36 county sheriffs have signed onto a letter opposing Proposition 50. In an open letter, the 37 sheriffs said the proposed congressional maps were redrawn behind closed doors as part of a partisan effort to advantage California Democrats in the 2026 congressional elections and would undermine the will of voters and erode public trust in government. As California votes this November, Proposition 50 represents more than just a new map. It's a pivotal moment in the fight for fair representation. Make your voice heard.
All right, guys. Prop 50. All right. That's the special election coming up in November. And David, I know this is your baby. I saw a good piece you did a couple days ago on Facebook there. So why don't you kick things off here? All right, Prop 50. What's going on?
All right, so I'll just give the background for any viewers who may not be familiar with it. So we have an election in about a month and 2 days, and there's only one thing on the ballot, Proposition 50, and it was placed on the ballot by Governor Newsom, state legislature, and if passed, it would replace all of our current congressional districts that were just drawn less than 5 years ago. So it's only been about 4 years. They were drawn by citizens, the Independent Redistricting Committee, and the new maps will be drawn or have been drawn already by Democrats in the legislature. And the intent being to eliminate as many Republicans from Congress from California as possible. Right now, there's only 9 out of 52. which you look at the 2024 election results, and President Trump got 40% in California. Those 9 Republicans are already far below 40% of our congressional representatives from the state. And apparently that's not low enough for Gavin Newsom or the state legislature. So they want to eliminate more. And if this passes, there will likely be only 3 Republicans, maybe less, from California. So their goal ultimately being to do what they can to deny Republicans the chance of taking control of the House next year. But really, and this is my opinion. This is, of course, the opinion of the Republican Party, but it's really bigger than partisanship. The model that we have in California for citizens drawing lines, that's something that has worked. These are the second maps in a row. It's been in place since 2010. These are the second maps in a row that have been drawn by citizens, and it's worked. It's worked very well. Communities are closer together. There are more competitive districts in the state. The last time that politicians drew maps was in 2000, before this commission came into force. It was incumbents had pretty much a 99.99% success rate, re-election rate in California, which I don't think is healthy, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And so when citizens started drawing maps and the commission started drawing maps, it led to really good outcomes. And our model was a model for other states that adopted similar commissions. So should Prop 50 pass, that would take us backwards. Politicians would draw our maps. Citizens would no longer have that power. And we're going to see, as a result, our districts go back to being not only all safe for incumbents, pretty much, no longer really any competitive seats in the state. But we're also going to see maps coming into force that were approved by the state legislature and by the very people who will be benefiting from these maps should this pass, who want to run for higher office. So again, it's bigger than partisanship. It's really about the people of California being asked to give power back to politicians who we took it away from. And in San Joaquin County specifically, we're getting decimated almost as much or more than any other part of the state. Because 4 years ago, when we had our district drawn by the commission, we actually got almost all of our county in one district, except for Lathrop. All of San Joaquin County is in one congressional district, and you'd have to go back probably more than 30 years, if not more, when that was last time the case. And so Democrats, Republicans, independents, people on both sides fought really hard for that in 2021. And should this pass, we will be taken from almost one district completely to 5 districts. We'll be split up every which way. Lodi gets split up 3 ways alone. And our districts that comprise our county will be dominated by cities in the Bay Area, by Sacramento, by cities not in our county, and we will lose our voice in this county. So again, it's bigger than what effects it has for one party or the other. It's about fairness, and it's about our people having a voice, really.
Okay, if I can ask one question, in your opinion, what triggered this? What triggered the governor to want to get this on the ballot?
So his claim is that it's in response to other states who are considering doing the same thing or have considered doing it. He cited Texas. I think that was the first state that really kicked this off this year. So that was his rationale for pushing for this, for getting it on the ballot this year.
When is Newsom's election up, or term up?
So his term is up next year. So we're going to have an election for governor in 2026. Newsom is term limited, so he can no longer run for a third term. So he's out no matter what. And of course, his long-term plans are to run for president. He's not saying that
28.
officially, but then in the next presidential election. So really, I mean, his rationale for pushing for this is to counteract what other states are doing. But ultimately for him, he really wins either way, whether this passes or not, because really his audience for this is not even Californians because he's term limited. His audience for this is Democratic primary voters throughout the country. That's his audience for this. And whether this passes or doesn't pass, he looks like a hero to that audience either way when he runs in 2028. And that's really what this is about for him.
Well,
Okay, and it will also be for the Democratic big-time donors across the country that are sending him money literally on a daily basis now, enabling him to have a war chest for 2028. So yeah, we got to factor that in. So
my other question is, would this also impact the next election for the governor?
well, these are congressional districts, strictly what we're talking about, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. It wouldn't touch the districts for state assembly or state senate, which are also drawn by the redistricting commission. So those would not change. This is specifically for congressional maps.
So this is only for the next 4 years, because in 2030 it goes back to the.
So that's what the claim is. That this is temporary. I'll give you my thought on that. I don't trust any politician, especially Newsom, when they say anything's temporary. And specifically, I look at two promises that he made, and there's many more to look at, but I'll just look at two. So when he was running for governor in 2018, the first time, California voters had just recently reaffirmed their support for capital punishment for the death penalty. And he said during the campaign, I respect that. I'm against it, but I respect that. I know that's the law. And then as soon as he became governor, he unilaterally decided, well, we're going to do away with that. I don't care what I said. We're ending that in California. The voters, basically screw the voters. Okay. And then more recently, just last year, Prop 36 passed with 70% of the vote in California. That was the proposition that basically created stiffer penalties and punishments for crimes that were formerly classified as misdemeanors. Passed overwhelmingly, 70%, every county passed it. And Newsom has still refused to fund one penny of that. And it's been almost a year now since that passed. So those are just two examples, but color me skeptical. Whenever they say something's temporary or whenever he makes a promise, I'm not inclined to believe it. And I really ultimately don't believe this will be temporary if this passes.
Also, another question is, so these congressional seats, right? Isn't Newsom just trying to position the Democrats in a position where, because they've lost a lot of power nationally, haven't they?
The 2024 election was not good for the Democrats. So yeah,
basically Prop 50 is trying to ensure or kind of safeguard whatever little power they kind of have left, right?
Yeah, I mean, it will benefit the Democratic Party. I mean, that is going to, I mean, you're looking at the new lines, and they looked at, what the party registration of these new districts is, how these new districts would have voted in the presidential election last year, and Democrats will benefit. I mean, they will most likely gain 5 districts from these new maps in California. And right now, the Republican majority in DC is 1 seat, 2 seats. So gaining 5 seats, that will tip the House, that will tip Congress. So that is going to be the effect if this passes. And they've been very open about that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, that's what would happen.
Republicans right now run the House or the Senate, the House, obviously the presidential seat, the executive seat. They also run the judicial branch, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Conservatives have a majority on the Supreme Court, but Republicans, they control the House, the Senate, and the White House.
So literally, this is the Democrats are trying to set up a game plan for the 2026 election. So
they want to ensure, that they win the House next year.
Hey, David, can
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but hear about politics this, seats this. Personally, I don't really think any of it matters because the Democrats lost the young man's vote, so RIP 2020. I'm just looking at the statistics, and it would seem that the the average Gen Z is voting conservative. The average Gen Z woman is voting Democrat. So if I was to do the math, yada yada, it would seem that in mass more men are voting, well, pretty much Republican. So
Well,
based on the results of 2024, I imagine Trump can't run again for a third term because there's a 2-term limit. So would they not pit Newsom against Vance, hypothetically speaking? So I
I
guess
don't
I'm
think
asking you
it's
who's a better
necessarily
chance.
Republican. What I think is happening, it's just the Democratic Party as a whole has lost sight of what really matters to the like American people like us. So right now their issues are in the astro world with like the LGBTQIA whatever community, and that's fine. Like somebody needs to be a voice for them, but
How's that
like
help out the regular guys like
the
me?
the majority of us are like are I don't want to say like we're normal, but like our priorities and where we're at doesn't necessarily reflect the views that the Democratic Party right now is generally like representing.
Which is why they lost.
Yeah,
Aside
but to that point, you have to understand when they redistrict, right? How that works is, for example, if they put a city that's in like the Bay Area that's highly populated with Democrats, and then you put in, for example, Lodi within that district, what happens is there may be only maybe 1,000 or 2,000 Republicans in Lodi, right? So that means those numbers that are in Lodi may vote Republican, but what happens is you ultimately lose because the population that's in the Bay Area, that city, ultimately has the
numbers
more
game.
numbers, right? So that means your vote doesn't really count anymore. So all they're doing is they're just redistricting, so that way Bay Area has a voice where Lodi has no voice. And
No,
I've seen it. I've seen it where last election where Jim Shoemaker ran for Congress, and same thing. What happened was he literally won Central Valley, but he lost because the cities that are actually in the Bay Area, like the Hayward, the Pleasanton, pulled more Democratic votes. So what happens is your votes that are in the Central Valley automatically doesn't count because what happens is the Bay Area ultimately wins, and
I
that's how
think
they
that
do
was
it.
the state senate race you were
Yeah.
referring to there, and yeah, of course, his opponent McNerney is from Livermore.
Yep.
So
So,
yeah, do the math, and
yeah. So
but
that's
yeah,
that.
he did carry our county.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing. They're doing it by that way because then what happens is you're looking at like, hey, you know what? I got San Juan King, but ultimately when the numbers come in, the Bay Area numbers come in and they're coming at like 20,000, and you're barely pulling 4,000 in San Juan King County. So that means your 4,000 doesn't do anything at all. You may have won the Central Valley votes, but the ultimate Bay Area numbers come in and they dilute the whole thing, and then you're screwed.
Oh, I will say that there's a strong movement in the Bay Area right now to vote yes. I was just out there and I saw multiple protests
They're
holding up
they're
signs
they're
to vote yes. I
yeah
will
they're
say
they're
that much.
they're
I didn't realize. I'm. It's kind of funny because I didn't realize this was going to connect to today's episode, but it's very yeah. You saw a lot of people protesting with their signs and trying to get people to honk on yes on Prop 50.
Yep. That's why we're losing. That's why California is it's a red state, but ultimately because you have the Bay Area, the Los Angeles, right, that are
All the
actually
major
heavy,
cities.
heavy, heavy blue. They carry overall all the population kind of is highly dense in the Bay Area and the LA County. So that means everybody else is just kind of we're just kind of like they say, shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just seems crazy to me that okay, Newsom had a problem with what was going on in Texas. All right, it's like, oh no, that's bad, and so his answer is, oh, I'm going to do the same thing here. And
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
this whole it's a political play. It's an obvious political move. It's as subtle as a garlic sandwich. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, again, if Governor Abbott didn't do what he was doing there, would this even be an issue? Would we even be having a special election?
Thank you.
Yes, we would.
Thank you. But
We
you
sure would.
know, in politics, it's always a political play. I don't care if it's Democrats, liberals, Greens, Republicans. It's always a political play. That's all it is. So it's not a matter of isolating one and saying, "Oh, it's a political play," or do you have Democrats in Pleasanton knocked out Lodi? Well, you got Republicans in other areas that knocked out, you know, the Democrat district. It's just it is what it is. It is what it is. But if Texas hadn't done what they did, no, guaranteed, I would bet, I would put my money on Newsom never would. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's just
100%. A
right,
thousand percent.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
And
now
we're
that he has,
Literally.
okay, we're talking about this independent commission that's been in place, that obviously seems like a good idea and has been working. If he gets away with this, what's stopping him from wanting to redistrict assembly districts, Senate
Nothing.
districts,
Nothing.
yeah,
right
but
down to
like
city
we
council
just
districts?
Nothing.
but we just said that had Texas not done what they did, the chances of Newman doing what he's doing would not even be
You know,
in the equation.
you
So
know,
why would he do something so that another state can go, well, California's doing it, we have to do it. You know what I mean?
but that's what's happening too. But that
It's
is
just a
so.
reaction.
Yeah.
But
Well,
let me
other
get
states
back
are.
to this. I want to get back to this other statement you said about this redistricting that we had 4 years ago. San Joaquin County agreed on their redistricting. It threw the whole freaking state off on their redistricting. And let me tell you something, all of California was upset with San Joaquin County for agreeing to the redistricting that they did. Okay. Nobody was happy with it. Nobody was happy with it. Everybody was blaming San Joaquin County. Okay. It is what it is. It happened. And, politics will go on. I'm still tripping on the politics at my own home. Why am I worried about the rest of the world when I got problems here in my own city? Okay? And this has been going on for generations. So the bottom line is, had Texas done that, would we have done it? Yes. Had Texas not done it, would we have done it? Probably not. Why even worry about he's going to do it so Michigan can do it? Who knows? It's not about us. It's about those damn um other people that do it, not us.
Illegal?
What's those called? What's that called?
Illegal Nah.
We vote, but the other ones decide. That's off on the tip of my tongue. Come on, you guys, the ones that we need to get rid of, the ones that actually put a president in seat. What's the word? College?
Electoral
No.
college.
Electoral
Is that
college.
it? Yeah, that's the one. It's
Electoral
not even
college.
up to us. It's about those guys. So
Oh
if
yeah,
we
because
want
we can vote one way, and at the end of the day, the electoral college could just easily swing the vote the other way.
and
Well,
Popular
this
vote.
is why
Yeah,
It,
yes
people
and
it
no.
say
hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. It would be a historical precedent if it does. But technically, we can have the majority vote. But at the end of the day, the electoral college can
yes.
decide who
And so
becomes the
here's
president.
this is why for generations they have said there's two things you don't discuss. One religion and two politics.
Whoa.
Because it's a never ending conversation. I respect you, you respect me, and we agree to disagree.
That's the American way.
I think though. I mean, like
That would be
talking
nice
about
in an ideal world.
talking about politics. I think like us here, for example, I think we're on the level of even if we disagree, I think having the discussion in an intelligent way, I think builds everybody up, right? I think that's the goal.
mhm.
We wish it would always be like that. It's not, but that's the goal whenever you want to talk about politics. Like getting back to Prop 50, I think, you know, and like in reaction to what Texas did, and that's why we're doing this. I really think that using that as the rationale for why we're doing this, like Newsom has, I really think that's just a convenient excuse, because you go back to 2010 when this was passed by the voters. I mean, the Democratic Party opposed this in 2010. They did not want a commission to pass because, absent that, the state legislature drew the lines every 10 years. And who has controlled the state legislature in California for decades? Democrats. So when they redrew the lines themselves, it guaranteed that they got the districts they wanted. So when this was passed by the voters in 2010, it took their power away. They were against it. So they have, in my opinion, always wanted a reason, an excuse to get rid of it. And I think this was just a convenient excuse to do it. So,
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. Again, it's an obvious political move, and I think when you step back a little bit and look at the big picture, it's one component part of what I call the Newsom strategy, which is, he would make the state into a Soviet-style one-party state if he has his way. That's my opinion on it.
And you know what? And a Democrat would probably say that in a Republican state. You know what I mean? And if it's in my opinion,
Well,
they would make
Democrats are
this
saying the same thing that Jack just said
right,
about Trump. I'm just
right,
saying.
right. So
The bullets are only
you
flying
know,
in one direction, it seems.
it is what it
Yeah.
is. You gotta promote it or try to not promote it
We're
and
in the
see how the
Matrix,
dice roll.
man.
We do have the Matrix in the background.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, we're in the Matrix.
Yeah, and
Whoa.
unfortunately, a lot of Californians have been blue pilled. you know, uh, I mean, look at the numbers. Okay, Newsom was elected twice and beat back a recall.
I don't understand how he got elected after the whole COVID-19 debacle. That motherfucker left his businesses open while shutting down California. Tell me how that makes
How many small
sense.
businesses suffered because of that?
and he
So
violated
many
his own
businesses,
rules. His own
Yeah.
rules.
I'm gonna party at my house. You
so
have to wear
many
masks though, not
businesses
me.
went out of like. How can I, in good faith, vote for him to be the fucking president? He's just like it. He's supposed to be a Democrat, but he lives his life as a conservative Republican in my eyes. But he's closeted and he's
He's
I don't know.
closeted.
I feel like he's closeted. I just feel like Newsom is like a closeted Republican.
Why didn't
He
he just?
just
Oh, is that? Oh
The
my God!
only
The twice
reason
running
why I
president.
think he's a face of the Democratic Party is because the Democratic Party it's such a debacle and it's a shit show
They have nobody else.
that they're backing him up with all of their money because he's a pretty face, he's got the reputation,
Ew.
but in reality, Newsom.
Who else they gonna vote for? Kamala Harris? Oh
Oh
wait,
no.
oh, that
Bernie's
was
still
Jack.
around, right?
No,
He's
He's
Bernie's
not
still
in
around.
California.
she's out.
He's
She's
not
out.
in
She got a
for
$28
That was
million
a joke. That
book
was a joke,
deal.
by the way.
Yeah, I read that. I read the book. She made a book.
Vote for Mom Donnie, man, the mayor of New York. He sounds pretty
Yeah,
That
the
guy's a
soon-to-be
cock.
mayor. The soon-to-be
Yeah,
mayor.
I mean, it seems like most of the rest of the country went one way, but California and New York City are bound and determined to hold out. And yeah, well, as far as New York City, I mean, that city council there is so far to the left. I mean, if this Mandami gets in, he's just going to be the cherry on top of the cake. And I got a feeling they're going to pay the price for it.
Yeah, and Mom Donnie's situation specifically, I think he's very fortunate that his opponent is Cuomo, because I think that you know every election is a. I mean, you have a contest between the people on the ballot, not between the perfect people that you want to win.
Mm.
I mean, you have him and Cuomo. Cuomo, objectively by any standard, was as bad, if not worse, a governor in New York as we have here in California. I mean, his record on COVID is probably he's probably the only governor in the country, maybe, who has a worse record during COVID than Newsom did, because Cuomo, I mean, literally people died because of his policies, and preventable deaths. And I mean, just and getting into the harassment allegation. I mean, there's so many
I
things
remember
to get
that.
into with Cuomo. So Mom Donnie's very lucky he's running against someone who is very despised in New York. And I think that's part of the reason why he's set to become the next mayor, if anything.
Why did this happen? I just have to ask. Or just hypothetically speaking, what if California and New York just hear me out? What if they had Republican leadership for maybe just like 10 years? Why not?
Had
I'm
it
just
under
saying, how are things going
Schwarzenegger.
right now? Is the alternative?
Let's,
What's the
let's
alternative?
not forget Arnold Schwarzenegger was our
Terminator.
last like Republican governor.
Yeah, the Terminator was our literal governor, and I feel like he did a way better job than Newsom did. So
This
it's
is
like,
before my
Well, you
time.
have to go back. I mean, at one point, California we had Republican governors consistently. I mean,
Pete
going back
Wilson. Why do
to
we suck now?
Reagan, you go back to Pete Wilson, even before Arnold. And when they were governor, people moved here. This is where people wanted to come.
Now
And
they want to
now,
leave.
since Jerry Brown and Newsom, this is where people leave. I mean, that's kind of speaks for itself, in my opinion.
No, like
That's sad.
businesses were booming here in
Oh,
California. It
I'll
was
just look for
still
stuff.
1,000%. Jerry Brown, I still think did a better job than Newsom.
Yeah. If you had to pick between the two, I
Yeah.
would definitely pick him. But
Right.
It has not been good with the exodus of businesses
going to
in the
Texas.
state, and other states are benefiting from those jobs and tax revenue and everything else. And like I've said so many times, Southern California used to be the mecca of the defense industry. It's all gone now. It's all gone. And the current administration has made no effort to get any of these companies back here.
No, and then the worst thing about it, like with the advancement in technology, especially here in California, there's a lot of robotics companies out there developing and actually having like tech that's replacing, for example, Uber drivers. They got things called Waymo that are self-driving cars, where people are probably going to start losing their jobs there. People from factories, now that they got the Optimus robots out there and about, right? Like fucking, they're gonna start losing their jobs in assembling cars and stuff like that. Engineers, because of AI, they're gonna start losing their jobs because AI creates better code than than human beings. And then these robots, they have more capacity to lift things, build things. So people like in are cheaper labor. So construction work is eventually going to be going away.
So in 5 years, you're going to have a lot of more homeless
So
people.
there's literally like the tech boom right now in robotics is great, especially here in California because I've seen it firsthand. But that's also going to impact society in a great way, where a lot of people are just going to start losing their jobs and nothing is coming into the state to replace those things.
Yeah, your degree won't mean anything because a robot can just do it.
Literally, engineers cannot get engineering jobs anymore, and they have to get operator roles teaching these things how to operate, because the market is just ass right now. I'm just being honest.
And it doesn't help that California is one of the most expensive states in America to live in. So combine that with no ability to get a job,
And
and you
minimum
can't afford
wage
to leave.
hasn't gone up in years. I don't want to hear anything about that.
How's this for an idea? How about we get the robots to draw the district maps?
They do a better job.
Remember, the robots are programmed.
I'll vote
So
for a fucking
it's
robot.
a,
I'll
it's
vote
a
for
human that
robots.
actually programs it. So
Who
that means
programs the
robot will
robots
tell it
will make
based
the
on
difference.
the program.
Who the programmer is, right?
Exactly.
They're just gonna.
So don't outsource the job.
Well, remember, Elon's the one that runs those things.
And he owns X, which is one of the most popular free speech platforms, supposedly. So
Is
how does that work?
Elon in Trump's good graces again?
Yeah.
Oh, they're butt buddies again. That's nice.
But the thing about that is that your only ability, you can only ability to talk about this is because you're using a platform created by a tech billionaire. How many tech billionaires are there? Well, there's a lot. So eventually, isn't the future not going to be like techno feudalism, where it's like, oh, I work for this corporation because they provide housing and all this because I can't get a job anywhere else. So now I got to work doing this. You see how dystopian that is? Imagine how it's going to be in Stockton. People already have a tough time to get jobs here. Imagine how more brutal it's going to be in 5 years. You know what they said when they told me when I was a kid? Learn to code. You know what they tell me now? Learn to hack.
To be completely honest, go into the trades at this point.
That's
Because
the only
I
reliable
made
hit.
my career. No, because I made my career in tech. Like realistically, tech is not where it used to be 10 to 15 years ago. If we wanted to really pursue careers in tech, we were born about 10 to 15 years too late, because realistically now all the tech roles are being outsourced to people in overseas, or being outsourced to literally the robots to collect their data. I'm not joking, guys. It's really bad. It is really fucking bad nowadays in the tech industry. And They don't even pay as much. They don't pay more than people that work at fast food places.
Like $20.
Dude, they pay fast food places are paying in the Bay Area about $23, $24 the hour.
But
A operator role is about $20 to $22 the hour.
so you make
They're
more
not
money
paying
flipping
more
a
than that.
burger.
So you make more flipping a burger technically.
So then you wasted your college education because, well, I guess it was a waste because now I have to flip a burger. Wait, that kind of makes college a waste then. No wonder people are going to trades because my degree is a waste of time now because I can't get a job with it. You see the issue here and you wonder why guys are dropping out of college and going to the trades, but eventually robots are going to come for that too. Well, not right now, but you see the issue? It's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Well, on top of that degree that you can't get a career from, you also have $100,000 and $200,000 of debt.
Yeah, how you got to pay
for
it back?
Mm-hmm.
I got to work this fast food job that I'm in debt to for the rest of my life, and I can never aspire to a higher life, and I have to eat ramen. I can't. Oh my God, David, imagine you're a young guy and you can't afford a car, a house, a girlfriend, a job, or anything. How depressing does that sound? And picture that having that be most of the American youth. I would know because it's me and every guy I know. So if you're wondering why guys voted for Trump, it's mainly because, well, it's either that or, I don't know, it beats the alternative. I'll put it like this, Lost Boys. There's a whole lot of Lost Boys. Why is that?
Scotty, you go into some stuff, Scotty. Like I don't know if that's the weed talking or what.
I'm just scratching the surface.
Lost
I
Boys,
wasn't
the
even
best
the deepest.
motorcycle.
This man is going into Lost Boys. Okay.
No, it's about the male experience is that we all need something to fight for. Otherwise, we surround ourselves with pleasure, distraction, lack of purpose. I mean, I
Well,
would.
that's the thing. Well, I don't think it's just about being a man or anything like
No,
that.
it's not about
It's
that.
a human aspect of things.
What you
Like,
have to live for.
okay, but that you can also apply that to women, just in general.
Huh? No, I'm talking about every guy. Don't you think that every dude should have his own unique purpose in life, and he's not just a drone to work for a
I
guy who
think
has more money to make
I
him?
think every human being on the planet should
Yeah, every
have.
human being that. I'm talking about everyone in general, not a slave to a
Yes.
corporation. I
Yes.
feel like that's been stolen from everyone. It's not just to a guy thing. I'm talking about, or I feel like the American dream has been stolen from the youth, the boys and girls, the youth. I'm talking about guys and girls
The
of my
American
age.
dream has been slowly being stolen since the
By
early
who?
2000s.
Who's stealing it?
Oh, just people that are rich,
Yeah,
like
you
people
you
that
know
are
exactly
developing.
who it is, but yeah, we can't do much about it. I'll put it like this: if I want to get a house in a corporation like BlackRock can go scoop it up, then of what use is me saving up all that money for hard work to afford a house when the entire neighborhood I was looking at, which I could afford, I'm now priced out of because it got bought out by a corporation, which has way more funding money than you'll ever have. So if corporations can buy out housing units meant for people, and that forces them into apartment units instead of their own houses, then it's like you'll own nothing and be happy. So how do you guys feel 10 years from now if you're never going to own anything? Because right now I'm a young guy. I don't really have anything to my name because I'm still like learning it, but it's like the life I was trained for is no longer exists. That world does not exist.
Well, this is the thing. We live in California,
Yeah, the worst.
one of the most expensive states in all of the
California.
So
Yes.
our circumstances may be bad here, but if you were able to apply yourself in something here, if you go to another state, you might fare yourself a little bit more successful.
But isn't that sad that you have to leave the home you were raised in order to have a better future? And it's still the
At
same
the end of the
country.
day, life isn't fair, Scotty.
No, but aren't you guys tired of it not being fair? I mean, it's
Well,
2020. It's
well,
not the Great
Scotty,
Depression.
we wouldn't be here if life was fair, right?
We'd be here if those we put in power did their job.
But you have to remember, those that are in power want to stay in power, right? So I keep telling my friends, this, right?
Education.
Our daily routine is to keep feeding the machine, and you guys know the machine, right?
That feeds
The
on
machine
us.
the machine is that takes your money, and then it's like, the American dream, right? It's that's why they call it the American dream. It's a dream. They feed you on this dream that you have to go to school to learn about whatever trade it is that you're going to become a professional in, right? So they sell you on that dream. What happens is you go to school. Schools has become more of
Indoctrination.
It's an indoctrination, but it's also a
Dumb me down. Don't teach
no.
necessary life skills.
It's more of a It's a con. It's a con. School is
Yeah.
actually a con
It's
because
called
you
the
think
wage
about it,
slave.
right? Everything that you do in your life, right? When you go to school, from the minute you're born, you go to school. What is it that they're doing? They're training you to become what is. It's like a robot. You're feeding. You're going to feed this machine, and then they train you on this like dream. Like you're going to have a house, with the white picket fence. You're going to have a family. You're going to
That's
have a
all
nice
gone.
car. You're going to have a nice, right? But in reality, it's a dream.
Yeah,
It's
you're a
never.
drone.
It's never that way because we're 99% of the population. It's all about selling us this dream, and we're gonna someday, one day, become successful and just have it all, right? And then just have this fantastic life where, I'm gonna have kids. My kid's gonna be, you know,
No, your
just
kid's gonna
enjoying
be your
life,
drone.
right?
No, but this is the thing. I don't believe in dreams. I believe in my own delusions. That's for damn sure.
What's the difference?
That's
The
the same.
difference
That is
is
the same.
the difference is my delusions feed my hunger and motivate me to pursue what I
You sure that's
ultimately.
not the weed?
That's it. That's the fuel to the fire,
Take,
baby.
take the lead,
It's
brother.
all a combustible element,
The
okay?
kerosene.
It's the gas to the engine that makes me go. But that's the thing. Like it comes down ultimately to that human being and who they ultimately are inside and that hunger and that passion. If you have it, you'll find an opportunity and find a way to be successful. You should never depend on anybody else. You should never depend on your government. You
But
should never depend on anything but yourself to ultimately accomplish and be happy.
So why
but,
don't they
but,
promote you instead
but
of other people on TV? Because think about everything you just said. That could inspire a lot of young guys if they had heard a positive male role model that actually knew what he was talking about instead of all the BS that they're being spoon fed. So my point being is that's it right there. That they're being fed lies and deception, being trained to be a drone instead of how the world really is. So I don't know about you, but that's why I'm kind of iffy about. I don't really want to have a kid because it's like, would you want to have a son if you knew that he was just going to be another drone that's manipulated and a slave to the system, where he only exists to make
I
dollars for
would
the
want to have a
corporation?
son well, I have two beautiful daughters. I'm blessed with two beautiful
I'm talking
daughters.
about son specific
No,
because he
no,
will
no,
get
no,
sent to war because he's
no,
expendable. Is your
well,
son expendable to you if you had one, right? No, not to you, but to your government, he is.
he might be, but thank God I live in America. I don't think we have draft laws still,
We
and
did
if
in
we
the
do,
70s, but who's to say
Not
they can't bring
anymore.
that back?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is it something where it's a unilateral decision by the president, or is it something that we vote on?
No, it's something decided by you, the fathers and the sons, because I'll put it like this. I
Well,
don't
we live
think
in
you'd willingly
America,
send your son to
Scotty.
die for a pointless war. Right? You're not taking my son, bro. It's like if you know in fact that he's just gonna be sent meat to the grinder, like it's not even for something justified. Like he's going
But
to die.
that's what I'm saying, Scotty. We don't live in a country or in a time like that
Yet,
anymore.
yeah. What
But
do you mean anymore? Yeah. Look at the world we're heading on.
but
There's
if we're
mass violence
heading
every
into a
week.
world like that, who's making that decision? Is it us, the people, or like I said, is it a president using his unilateral power
Not
to
the
put
president.
these things into effect? Because at the end of the day, what matters is who is in control and who is in power,
Do
right?
you know?
That's why our votes matter. That's why
Lobbyists.
Prop 50 is important in this case.
I thought
Lobbyists.
what
Yeah.
matters is that whoever puts the money in the politician's pocket, because correct me if I'm
Lobbyists.
wrong, a bit cynical, but the lobbyists, the bankers, whoever
that
supplies the
is
funding for a person's campaign and they happen to win, would they not do the interest of their financial backers instead of the people that they claim to support? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems that it's not really your vote that matters. It's more of the guy who paid for your politician to win that you happen to vote for.
So that was the point that like
Oh,
I
so
think
it's
you
all
missed.
rigged then.
But you missed that point earlier. I
I
think you
did.
were trying to say is who is allowing these things, and it's the answer you just said. Actually, you answered your own question or your own, I guess, thought.
Oh, so it's a
Uh,
bullshit game then. It's all rigged.
it's not even a game, bro. It's not a game. It's life. This is how life was 100 years ago, 200, 400, 1,000 years
David,
ago.
I got a question for you. What are your thoughts on this conversation? Because I see you thinking over there.
I'm thinking how we started talking about Prop 50 and now we're here.
Yeah,
thinking.
that happens a lot on the show.
A lot with Scotty, man. It goes into some deep
It kind of goes together, honestly. Prop
Oh my
50 and
God.
how life really is, right? It's all about, once again, it's about the one percenters making the decision for all of us, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the whole thing behind Prop 50 is so that way these one percenters can control us, can manipulate us, right? It goes back to the
Well,
SB
that's why
whatever
they're
that
trying
bill
to
again, right? It all kind of
rezone
goes
the
into
districts,
one
right?
complete circle. Everything's a complete circle because
So it's
everything
what you Kasey.
ultimately is
So actually, this
we
is
have to
my
feed the
question.
machine.
Wouldn't the people that are in that 1% want to lean more Republican
They
because of
don't
the tax
care. They
bill,
don't
but
really care
because of
about
the
what
tax
side. All they care
Whoever
about
has
is
their
control.
interest.
They don't really care about side. They only care about control. They only care about, here's where they are. They're on the top. They care about these politicians are here. They don't care about if you're on the left, on the right,
They
in
just
the
switch out the
middle, in
puppet.
between. All they care about is we have you and you're going to do what we want you to do. You're going to put in all these laws to control the people that are actually working for us, right? We're, like I said, we're feeding the machine. The machine is here. We're here. We will never be able to go up here unless you become successful. You become a billionaire, then you become a one percenter. If you're not going to be a billionaire, you're just like everybody else. You're just feeding that machine. Because think about it, all the tax, right? If you're a millionaire, how much tax you're paying into that machine. So that way, these people that are controlling it still control you. They have control over you. Your dream that you said that you, if you work hard, you become successful. What is success? Success is making another a buck so you could buy a boat. That's not success.
Making
That's
another
just
guy rich.
that's what they're feeding you. They're feeding you that machine like, hey, you got to buy a boat. You got to buy this new car. You got to buy this brand new house. So that way you could live. You could say, I made it. When you really think about it, by saying you made it, you just made these one percenters more richer. Because why? You're buying into their dream that they're feeding you. That's
It's
it.
like Fight Club. Show it.
Yeah.
Show it. It's pretty much Fight Club,
Yeah.
isn't it? Hey, David, you
Yeah.
ever see the movie Fight Club?
Actually, no, but I know what it is, but I haven't seen it.
Well, I'll put it like this: a generation of men raised to believe they'd be millionaires, rock stars, and TV gods, only to find out that they aren't, and they're slowly pissed off about that. So you have 99% of guys. Well, I'll just include guys and girls in America because I'm really concerned about America. So you say that Republicans, Democrats, they're both controlled by the same person who pulls the strings. So I got a question for you guys. If I'm a person who wants the best for his country and cares about nothing else except for that, no matter what they have to do in order to achieve that goal, like I want America to be top dog, I want America not to have crime, I want us to have a strong military, secure borders, pretty much make sure no kid goes hungry. Without not making me nationalistic, but I don't really care about Republican, Democrat. It's more like I will do whatever is required in order to like get America like top dog, pretty much. So it's like you whatever label you want to put on that. What do you guys call that type of person?
You're
I
a
want to save
patriot.
my country pretty much if I could, even if it seems kind of pointless. But I might as well try, right?
You're a patriot. That's what you are.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And
It makes me the
that's
enemy in some people's eyes, and some
no,
people will throw
Not at
bullet
all.
at you.
You're just a
Isn't that
patriot.
sad?
buddy.
You love your country and you'll do anything to make it.
So back to Prop 50. That's good. This special election is going to cost $280 million. Are you
Yeah.
fucking serious?
On the low end.
Yeah.
That's
Not
the
All
only
low
our
end.
money. That's all our
Yeah.
tax dollars. That's
Who's
why I
paying
said
it?
we're
Taxpayer,
feeding.
baby.
And there's already there's an issue with the budget, isn't there?
Yeah, there's
Well, we're
always
in a
been out
deficit. We're in a deficit. I'll
They
say
don't
this
care about.
too.
They don't care
trillion.
about.
Yeah, the state's broke.
So,
The state is
so
broke. So what they're gonna
yeah.
do? They're gonna tax you more. We're gonna get taxed more just to stupid have this election. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
they don't care
Property
about us.
taxes are about to go fucking back up again.
Oh
Aren't
yeah,
they?
your eggs are about to cost triple.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of figures. Well, the 280 million, yeah, for the statewide. And San Joaquin County, our county alone, I think it's like 3 million it's costing us for this election. And I've heard people say, "Oh, well, the counties are getting reimbursed by the state." It's all our tax dollars. It's not like there's like some pool of money that's over here. Oh yeah, we're just going to take that and reimburse you. It's like it's still our money.
Somebody's
It's
How
paying.
do
still
you even do it? What's the difference?
taxpayers' money. Exactly. It's
And
taxpayers'
not
money.
not
Man.
only that, I just read today, LA Times, I think maybe yesterday. So there was some kind of mistake on the sample ballot, on the
Yes.
ballot, and so now so that they probably have to resend all of the sample ballots, all the voter guides, whatever the mistake
Oh,
was in. So now that's another how many millions of dollars to resend that out. before ballots get mailed out. So it just keeps adding on.
And then there's a large endorsement for what's it called? There's a large endorsement for the Yes campaign. Like I'm on Google right now, just looking at Prop 50, and all I see are articles after articles endorsing Prop 50.
Who's funding that? See my point? Who's funding that
I'm on
campaign?
Google. I'm on Google right now, so Google might be funding the fuck out of this.
See, that's exactly my point. Oh, well, I'm gonna Google information about this bill I know nothing about, and what do I see, Nelson? Tons of articles supporting it. I know nothing. I can't.
Well, I'm kind of glad the AI is bipartisan because it gives you information on both sides.
See, everybody's lying to you. How do you know I'm not AI? How do you know I'm not a real person? See, it's crazy.
Well, I can't see you, so I mean, I don't have a way of knowing.
I don't have
one actually.
Yeah.
I've met you, Scotty, so I can guarantee for damn sure you ain't no AI, buddy.
That's my good point, though, is that how would you know if someone happened to join and click on the link, and imagine the person you're talking to happens to be AI? Like, see, it's trippy now, but in 5 years, it won't be a joke. Because someone will be like, oh, yeah, I just got this software that puts someone else's face on, like I was saying. It's just like, I don't know, man. You ever see that Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report, where they try to predict stuff before it happens? What if they're wrong? What if they want to predict something and be like, oh, you're going to commit a future crime, and it's because they checked your X history, only to find out that they tweaked it. So you see, my point is that who watches the Watchmen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that I noticed on this is that it does say that the biggest reason why they're doing this in California is because, like you said, they do want to have the house again, right? The reason for that is because they want to protect DEI and healthcare and other policies that they are afraid or have been cut out of, essentially, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw we already know what's going to happen if Democrats win the House because we already lived through that when Trump was president the first time. Democrats took control of the House 2 years into his term, and they had it for the last 2 years of his first term. Investigations, impeachments, and nothing got done. And that's what's going to happen again.
That's literally why I stopped following politics back in 2016, because I used to follow Ben Shapiro and the Young Turks, CNN, Fox News, all the feelings, just so I could get both sides, both extremes of everything. But my biggest issue was CNN, Fox, what was it? The Young Turks and all the other sources that I was mainly watching, except for Ben Shapiro. I got to give my hats off to Ben Shapiro. We're not covering the news in America anymore. It was all about the collusion, all about the drama, and I just lost my interest in politics, and I just didn't care who was the president. All I knew was that when Trump was in office, interest rates were low. The economy, in my honest opinion, before COVID was flourishing, and we all had jobs.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point, Nelson. You said that, like, that's actually what Pat was saying, is that I don't really care about the outside news. I care about what's going on in my own city.
And I live in California, which is one of the most expensive states.
We want to know what's going on in California, not Iran or Israel.
Oh, 100%. But under Trump's policies, even in California, it was a lot easier for us to grow, maintain our families, maintain our income.
Well, he's a businessman.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, even because it's only been Trump's first full year, I always give a president 2 years for their policies to really take into effect, and you start seeing the results. I'm waiting until his second year in office to really see the impact his new policies will make on a national scale. Because I don't.
The latest, I just read the latest figures. The economy grew at 3.8% last quarter.
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah.
Yeah. Things are happening. You know, on a positive note.
And you have to look. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree. And I have to look at too. We had 4 years of an economy that was terrible. 4 years of inflation. 4 years of higher and higher gas price. I mean, 4 years. I mean, I think it's going to take some time to really.
And I hate how
back in history.
Expect there to be instant changes on day one or within the first 6 months. Things don't ever happen overnight.
But for Trump, we have to admit his first 6 months, or it's not even a year, a lot has happened
A
since
lot
that
has
man's been in
happened.
office.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't say that it hasn't, but we won't see those effects
3 years later.
until a
Yeah.
year or two. It does
Right.
like the effects aren't felt overnight. The
Right.
effects are felt over a period of time, right? So his first 6 months may have gone well. I'm really interested in seeing interest rates go back down so property values can go back up.
It's not
Because
on.
my
It's not on
house,
Trump.
my house here in Stockton was worth $500,000
It's not
when
on Trump.
interest rates were lower. Now I lost $100,000 in my property value just because interest rates are so high.
It's not on Trump though. It's on the Fed. The Fed is not controlled by any other branch of government. Trump can make fun of Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed. He can make fun of him. He can, laugh at his glasses or call him slow or,
He can't do anything
inconsiderate for the American populace. But that doesn't matter because what the Fed is doing is absolutely correct to that. But to previous points, because I feel like we're jumping around. I think Trump and his goon squad of Republicans who are just they're fed money to make these policies that a lot of people do not like, with insurance especially, and then also attacking Democrats, which does not make any sense. How is that going to, why divide? Instead, you should unite. But
maybe that's
what was said earlier. I think
they also take shots at him.
I think Prop 50 is just a reaction to Texas, and again, the Republicans there who feel like in the next election are going to lose because Texas is becoming more blue, which is apparently bad, but for them and their groups, their PACs, their lobbyists, it's bad because they won't get their way, corporately wise, right? So it's a reaction. It's oh, they're doing it, I'm going to do it here, because Texas and California have the biggest votes overall, and they're trying to secure themselves as blue and red, opposite ends of the spectrum and all that. And it's sad. It's gerrymandering. You're pretty much dividing it up, and you're saying, "Oh, we're going to get more votes here, but next election, that's not going to happen because we just restructured it, and now it's a totally different map, and we get more votes here and there because cities grow and economics." It's like, nah, they're just making it better for themselves later on.
So so the only reason why is for this upcoming election in 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it won't really have an impact in 2030 if it goes back to the commission like it says it's going to happen.
Like it says it's going to happen, which I'm still skeptical of. But I will say,
but then what would the point of this even be?
Well, again, this is really Newsom's audience isn't even Californians. He's running for president in 2028, and his audience is Democratic primary voters throughout the country. And for that, whether this passes or not is kind of irrelevant because I think just the fact that he is seen to be pushing back against Trump, I think that alone is enough of a rationale for him to do this because he benefits either way, whether this wins or loses. And I think,
air jail.
To your point about Texas too, I mean, it's actually not getting bluer because you look at 2020, Trump won it by about 5 points. Last year he won it, so it actually trended pretty heavily Republican last year.
But this is my question though. Even if Texas and California start going more blue or whatever, do you guys realistically think the Democrats are actually going to be able to win the presidency in 2028? Because I haven't seen them make any improvements since the Kamala Harris debacle.
How are they going to get the young man's vote? That's like that's the biggest point here.
The young man voice, it is
right now. It's a long shot for him,
but it's not the biggest thing that's going to determine.
No, of course not, but a substantial amount. If you don't get guys like me voting for Newsom instead of Vance, well, there's the issue.
But again, like I said, the population for us isn't as big or as impactful. So overall, do you guys really think Democrats can win the presidency in 2028? Because unless they have a solid candidate, and I don't think Gavin Newsom is a solid candidate, they have a shot.
Yeah. Who else do they have? Like your point earlier, who else, other than Newsom?
AOC.
I mean, who? No, I mean, like, who do they have? I mean,
Wasn't
that could.
Well,
They,
that's who they got. Newsom and AOC, basically.
yeah,
AOC, oh my God, that's gonna be she's even worse than Kamala Harris. So I mean, if
was
they put her on the ticket,
That
they're
could be a ticket. That could be their next ticket. Who
was
knows?
the head of Department
It's
of Transportation.
scary, you know.
Wasn't he running last time? Pete
Who?
Buttigieg?
Pete Buttigieg.
Balls?
Oh,
No balls?
You
yeah.
know who I actually liked? I like Vivek Ramaswamy.
oh yes. I love that guy.
actually had some like decent opinions. Like some of his stuff was a bit extreme, but there were some points that he really made that stood out to me. And I
Oh,
think he should be a candidate for the Republican Party.
He's running for governor of Ohio
yeah.
right now, which is the election's next year, so he could be the next governor of Ohio
That's
by this time. So
That'll give him some political experience. I know he came from like little political experience, so that'll be nice.
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
some of his ideas too, but he was just kind of some of the stuff is radical. I
Yeah.
remember him spewing a lot of radical stuff during the.
But he's very intelligent.
Define radical, because I kind of feel like that's kind of losing a little bit of its way.
I
'cause
think
when you
it
say
was
radical,
something to do with taking away, if a baby is born here, their national right to be an American or something like that.
Are you talking about ending like that loophole where someone from a different country can come here and have a kid, and that kid is now a U.S. citizen because it was born on U.S. soil, where they're trying to like scoot that act?
No, it was something else. It was like.
Be more specific.
I'm pretty sure it was that. At least that was one of the things that I kind of was like.
Well, does that sound like a loophole to begin with? Because it's like
I don't think it's a loophole. I think because my parents came here legally. They got their residencies. They were here legally for about 5 years. Then one fateful night when they broke up, I was conceived.
Dude, that's legally though. That's way different from like say a North Korean coming here.
I'm just saying. So, but I have the blessing to call myself an American. I was born by two people from Peru who came here legally and then had me here. I can call myself an American. I love being an American.
That's pretty American, bro.
Oh, facts, dog. USA all the way, baby.
That's
and
the American.
I'm
Why
very
can't you
arrogant
do
when
that
it comes to my country. I believe we live in the best fucking country in the world. I've been to Peru. I've seen what poverty fucking looks like. I've flown in Mexico. I've seen what that shit looks like
Philippines.
too. We live in the greatest country in the world, but we sadly take it for granted.
Yeah,
That really sucks.
And we have people in our own country that vote against their own best interests. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
My tax money should go to schools for kids and not bombs for Israel. I mean, I'm just putting out my view is that if it's not going into making my people around me better, then why is it going to someone else? Just think about that. If it's tax money and it's American money, why is it going to benefit someone else outside of America that does not give a shit about us?
That's kind of one of the things I do appreciate about Trump. He's very America focused.
America. Yeah.
Like he puts literally America first.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Because if we don't put America first, we collapse. All the other countries in the world depend on us, ironically, because it's like, oh boy, it's like if I'm China or Russia and America like just disappeared, well then there goes the trade. Oh shit, where am I getting my chips from? All right, I guess me and Russia are going to war now. You see the issue? It's kind of like without America, a lot of things kind of fall into place because a lot of the world revolves around us. The world does revolve around America.
Well, yeah, it does, and that's why it's important that we're the ones directing traffic,
not our enemies,
and not Russia, not China, not Iran.
How'd that work out for them?
Because if anybody else starts directing traffic, it's not in our best interest.
Yeah.
Well, Russia and China are getting a bit more of a foothold on things. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they are. Tariffs, baby. That's why we need tariffs. So it's like, hey, don't build your semiconductor factory in China. Why not build it in America for a reduced price? And then that opens up jobs for Americans in the area who are, I'm just going to say it. If I was Elon Musk and there's like a bunch of abandoned buildings in Stockton, I would love for that guy to put them here because that would solve so many jobs in Stockton. Hey, it can be a bum or you can work in my factory getting paid $25 an hour because, hey, there's a lot of abandoned buildings and there's only Amazon here, so I'm be the competition. Like, you see, the idea is that our lives can be so much dramatically more improved if only we had competent leadership instead of them just pocketing the fucking money. I mean, excuse my French. If they were not pocketing the money, then we'd have a much better life. Because it's like this. It's like the Titanic. It's like if I'm a leader of a tribe and decisions I make get me rich, but eventually leads the tribe to ruin, then of what use was it worth it? It's like you're rich now and you fled to a different part of the world, but your people suffered and now they're over. So it's like corrupt politicians in America selling out to foreign adversaries for, I don't know, a briefcase full of money and making the American interest for our people bad, all for for money, I guess. Let's not pretend like it doesn't happen.
I don't think it's foreigners making our lives bad.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying foreign adversaries, as in China and Russia, and sometimes coming from within, because we have corrupt politicians. Why do you have corrupt politicians? Because they get bribed with money. Why do they get bribed with money? Because the guy who paid them off, that apparently that money was a lot worth more to them than the values of which they got elected for. Otherwise, there wouldn't be corrupt politicians. I'm not spouting bullshit here, am I? Because this has been going on since the Greek times. And that's probably why Julius Caesar got stabbed, because like, hey, we don't like this guy's vision for Rome. We're gonna stab this dude. They killed his ass, and look how Rome ended up, rotting and collapsed from the inside. So, what do you guys think about it? This is just my young guy's opinion. I don't like the government because the government does not care about the people. It cares about profit.
So frankly, I just live my life really without really thinking about the government as long as I have a job.
Until the government puts their hands into your
Yeah, it all starts at home. You know, you got to take care of number one, you know, and yeah, once you take care of yourself, well, then you can go down and help your neighbors on the block, and then eventually, you know,
how do I do that when the government
help
makes
out
it
your
hard?
school district?
No, that's the thing, Scotty. You need to stop putting all your problems on the fucking government. It ain't the government, bro. You need to just go out there and find ways to better your own life because the government ain't gonna do it for you. They ain't done it for anybody here. Like, Alex, has the government ever done anything for you?
The government came and took my baby.
It took. See, they'll take your shit. They actually
your
will.
guns?
David, has the government ever done anything for you?
No.
Positively?
They give me
In general.
They
For you
they give me
personally, has the government ever done anything for you other than that stimulus check back in 2020?
tax returns are nice. I guess
Well,
free
tax
education.
returns, I mean, it's our money coming back to us that we paid. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
government.
Giving me back my
Thanks
money.
for proving my point.
Yeah.
Is that you proved it? Is that the government does jack shit for any of you guys, and yet you're supposed to obey and follow it to the fucking T.
But
even
no,
though you
we're
guys
not
just fucked over.
necessarily obeying
But-
or following anything to a T. We just don't let the government dictate our lives and what we want to
Can you
accomplish.
repeat that?
David,
again?
David, what
What
do
do you
you
mean
want
we
to
don't let the
accomplish in your
government
life?
dictate our lives? What do you think it's doing right now?
what do I want to accomplish? I want to, I'm married. I want to have kids, right?
Congratulations.
And I want to hopefully do a small part to leave a better world for them than I had. Whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be big, but you know, whatever you can do in your own life to make that happen. I mean, that should be the goal, right? For most people, I would think.
So, in your time on our planet, what have you done in your career that you feel proud of?
Well, I mean, I consider being in politics, even if it's not a career or a paying job, I consider that my passion. I consider that like the thing that I want to do in life. So for me, that looks like helping advance causes or helping elect people that I think are going to create better communities for everyone. And even though I don't have kids yet, you know, that's about laying the groundwork for them when I do have kids. So that's getting people in office or advancing causes or policies that I think are going to help create a better world for when I have kids. I mean, that I can say, hey, what did I accomplish? That's what I'd like to say that I helped accomplish or helped.
Did
create.
anybody tell you to do these things, or did you go out and do them yourself?
I went out and did it myself. You can't wait for people to tell you to do things. If you have a vision of what kind of world you want to help create, you just got to do it. You can't wait for people to tell you to do something. You got to fight for everything in this life. That's pretty much how it is. That's how I see it.
Now, that's the American way. Holy shit, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Jack.
Yeah.
What about you, bud? Government ever do anything for you? Because I will say something. You've had an impact on local government with the stuff you've covered, my friend.
Well, yeah. But as far as what government does for me, I am thankful that we have a strong military that will defend us from because let's face it, America does have enemies, and those enemies would have a lot easier time if our military wasn't what it was. I did my couple of years in the Army, and like a lot of guys did. And so everybody, it's one of those institutions that you put into, and you get something out of, and so yeah, I'm thankful for that, and that's why I think government should be focused on balancing the budget, providing defense for us, and that's about it. As a libertarian, I feel the government's role should be, reduced to that, and not being involved in our personal lives on a daily basis with things like censorship, like we talked about earlier, and social engineering and all that kind of stuff. I think those are things that actually degrade individuality in our society, and so I would like to see the government, get out of that, get out of people's bedrooms, and take care of business. Like I said, balance the budget, defend our borders, defend our country, and keep our streets safe. That's what government should be limited to. And so for the aspects of it that they are doing, I am thankful for Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. We finally got some real lawmen that are, going after things like narco trafficking, which peaked over the previous 4 years. Let's be honest. That open border didn't help matters. And, anybody who, lost a family member to fentanyl, I'm sure they get it. So, any efforts to clean up that kind of those kind of problems in our society, if government's got something that can help, then absolutely, yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Now, you made comments of things that you are grateful for the government. Same question I had to David. Did the government tell you to do these things with your life and pursue the career that you pursued in filmography and now pursuing a career in podcasting? Or is this something that you're going out and you're doing on your own because you want to have a greater impact and you want to change what you can change?
Oh, 100%. That's on me. Okay, yeah, no.
Do you let the government dictate your life on a daily basis?
I try not to, no. No.
That's my point, Scotty.
Ultimately, like I said, it all starts at home. It all starts at home. You got to get your shit together, okay? Because if you can't take care of yourself, you ain't going to be able to take care of anybody else. I don't care if it's your girlfriend or your neighborhood or, the rest of the country. You need to take care of number one first, And once you got that nailed down, then you can expand outward. You can help the neighbors on your block. You can, volunteer for stuff in your city, help out on that level. But it all starts here. It all starts here. As a libertarian, as a sometime practicing Buddhist, I'm not from Christian stock, so I don't look up there for the answer. We believe the answer is right here. It's standing in your shoes. So that's kind of where I come from.
No, and I agree. And that's my point, Scotty. At the end of the day, we cannot let government dictate what we want to do, what we want to accomplish, and what we ultimately want to achieve. We just got to go out there and take the bull by the horns and get it done, bro. And I know you can do this, Scotty.
Oh yeah, we'll do it. All right, guys. Well, hey, we knocked out about a couple hours here. It was a good show tonight. I want to thank David for joining us. We appreciate that. And let's go around the room. Do your plugs. Anything you want to promote? Any upcoming events or whatever going on? I'll start with you, David.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this chance to talk about what's going on. And um, so, other than vote no on Prop 50, I think we covered that. The election's in a month, so your ballot's coming out this weekend probably. So when you get it, just say no. That's kind of our slogan. Just say no. Vote no. We have an event coming up in Escalon. Actually, is our next event for the Republican Party at Zinc House Farm, I believe, on the 8th. So 6 days from now at 6 o'clock, myself and Jeff Kay, council member from Escalon, will be there to talk about what's going on in Escalon and also, again, about Prop 50. So, again, October 8th, 6 p.m., Zinc House Farm. Come out and see us. And, again, stay involved, get involved, and make our community a better place.
All right. Shua, anything to promote, plug?
I don't have anything this week, so.
All right. Just hanging out. Sounds good. Alex.
Well, it was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this one. Check out Shady Mob Productions on YouTube, Instagram. Check out Anyone from the End Zone, A&A Radio as well on YouTube, and Smacks TV on Twitch for gaming. You guys saw the trailer as well. Go check it out. It's similar environment. Shady Mob does entertainment. A&A Radio does finance. Anyone from the End Zone does sports, and Smacks does Twitch gaming as well. Guys, check it out. Click the link down below or go to our website as well. We have merch and other fun stuff as well. And that is it for me.
All right. Nelson.
Alex, the man, Angela, I've covered it. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here with us. Catch Port City Uncensored every Thursday at 8 PST, live with J-Man Jack, who always brings it, ladies and gentlemen. J-Man, back to you.
Thank you. And Scotty, final word.
Are you sure?
Get ready to sign
off.
off.
Security tip of the day, bro.
He said, "Are you sure?"
All right. Okay, I got one. So, you guys like submarines?
Yes.
Like the sandwiches?
No, I'll picture this. If you're at the bottom of the ocean and you're in a submarine, it's hypothetically, say there's a crack in the hull or part of the ship is breached and there's water breaching in. Would you feel safer if that section of the ship happened to be cut off from the rest of the ship, meaning even if there was a breach, it's contained, right? Like just generally, you like when, even though a situation's foobar, it's somewhat contained, even though you didn't have to do anything. So I use this same analogy for emails. So there's this email provider called proton.mail. So the reason I recommend you guys make a Proton account is because not every email provider is the same. I assume we're all using Gmail. In order to make a YouTube account, you need a Gmail account, which means you're pretty much, you have to play in their ball game if you want to use YouTube and make money off it. Proton, okay, so sometimes for Gmail, you need to send what's it called? Your name, your birth date, your address, your phone number, address, all this personal information that you're kind of wondering, do I really need all this if I just want to start a faceless anonymous YouTube channel? So then you use Proton, and all it does is simply start a email account. It doesn't ask for anything other than that. And the reason why I say Proton is because they're located in Sweden. The Swiss have very good privacy laws, so they're more secure email. And let's say that you like to keep your stuff secure. You're doing Shady Mob production, business emails. You don't really like someone to be sniffing the emails out or the government monitoring, because you know me, I'm not a big fan of the government. You would use Proton because their emails are end-to-end encrypted. End-to-end encrypted, meaning the sender sends it, the receiver gets it, and that's it. Nobody else gets it, can't intercept that shit. And it's more secure, and that's why I'm saying you should use it and have multiple email accounts, because it's like this. It would suck ass for me to own a business and have an email associated to that business only for that email to get hacked. And guess what? All that email had my Facebook account, my bank information, all this. It wasn't just your business account that was linked to it, like your website, Shady Mob. It was a bunch of other stuff. So in order to I like to call this segmenting or containing a breach, is that I just have a business email for a website that I own. If someone does manage to get into it or crack it, well, that's fine. I don't have any other personal identifiable stuff sent to it. So it's not like my banking statements go to that email that I use to send up an email for Shady Mob. You get my point?
Yep.
Is that it may seem inconvenient, but it's
No,
more
but
like
it's
I have an
smart.
email for security stuff, for expensive stuff, and for whatever else. So that way, in the event that someone does hack my ass because they figured out my password, or someone happens to, peek over your shoulder, well, they only got into my Starbucks account. So that's not much use to a hacker unless they want to get a fucking frappe. And that's why they got into that account and not into my bank account, which is a separate email provider. So if your life is like a submarine and people manage to poke holes into it, you'd rather not sink to the fucking bottom. Or excuse me, you don't want to sink to the bottom. You'd rather patch the hole. So I think it'd be a good idea to start segmenting the stuff you can afford to lose and stuff you can't afford to lose. So that's my tip for today.
No, that's a brilliant tip, and I think people should actually follow that. If you can, create emails for specific things, because you don't want your main email to ever be impacted because you have it linked to a business domain that you might be starting or something that can put your stuff at risk. So brilliant tip today, Scotty.
Yeah, I went out on that tip. The reason why I say that is because you can use one email that uses the same password, and this email goes to a database like, say, Facebook. People know that, oh, look, this guy's email is this, his password's this, and so they're going to use that same password to log into your banking information, because guess what? You may have not have leaked anything. It's not something you did. It's someone you trusted within your information that leaked. So you knew the password was secure, but they messed up. They leaked it, and someone used that same password used for Facebook to log into your bank. And that's on you because you use the same banking password for social media. That's another way in.
Yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
Makes
All
a lot
right.
of sense to me. Good tip, Scotty.
All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for everybody showing up tonight. Good show.
Great show. We ran 2 hours, man.
Yeah. We may have broke a record tonight. So
Halloween special.
Yeah, good content. So yeah, Shua, Alex, Nelson, Scotty, everybody. Thank you all of those out there for tuning in. And speaking of emails, again, you have any thoughts on the show? Please let us know. PortCityUncensored@gmail. Doesn't get any harder than that. And let us know what you think. And so that being said, let's exit on out of here, and we shall be back next week with more of the same.
Hit the like button.
God bless America.
I will tell you that's me.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Later, Shua.
Good night.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. And I'm right there just snowing.